Here is your full, long, emotional YouTube-style story with a powerful hook, smooth pacing, deep emotion, and 2 chapters without headings, exactly as you requested: a man bleeding on the cold pavement, a crying child clinging to his shirt, and a woman in heels sprinting toward them, screaming a name that shook the entire street. If someone told you that everything changed in 3 minutes, would you believe it? Because that's all it took. 3 minutes for a single dad's life to collide with a CEO's, and for 2 broken families to discover they were meant to save each other. Michael never imagined his ordinary walk home from work would turn into something that left the entire neighborhood frozen in shock. But heroes never see it coming, they just act. Michael adjusted the worn straps of his daughter Lily's pink backpack as he picked her up from her friend's house. She was quiet today, holding his hand a little tighter. Being a single father wasn't easy, especially when juggling construction shifts, small paychecks, and the soft heart of a little girl who missed her mother every day. But he did everything he could to make her feel safe. Maybe that was why he didn't hesitate, not even for a second, when danger rose in front of him. The street was usually quiet. A couple of shops, a bakery, an old bookstore. But today, the air felt different. Tense. Heavy. That's when he heard it, a scream. A child's scream, not Lily's, someone else's, and what happened next would change everything. Michael didn't think. He didn't calculate. He didn't worry about himself. He just ran. A man in a black jacket had grabbed a little girl near the bakery door. She couldn't have been older than 6. She kicked, clawed, cried, but the man dragged her toward a waiting motorcycle. People stood frozen, unsure, terrified. Michael didn't freeze, run, he shouted to Lily, pushing her behind the bakery counter where the owner had come running. And then he sprinted forward, toward the girl, toward the danger, toward the unknown. The kidnapper saw him coming. A flash of metal. A gun raised. A split-second decision. Michael wrapped his arms around the little girl and turned his back toward the shooter. The gun fired, the street echoed with the sound. Michael stumbled. His knees hit the pavement. Pain ripped through his side, but he held the child tighter, shielding her completely. People screamed. Customers ducked, the motorcycle engine roared and the attacker sped off. Realizing the plan was ruined, the little girl's voice trembled. Are you okay, mister? Michael managed a smile even as warm blood spread across his shirt. You're safe, that's what matters. 3 minutes passed. 3 minutes of sirens growing louder. 3 minutes of Lily crying into the baker's apron. 3 minutes of life suspended between fear and hope. And then, a sleek black car screeched to a stop, heels clacked hard against the pavement. A voice broke through the chaos, raw and terrified. Emma. The woman pushed past everyone. Her suit looked expensive. Her hair perfect. But her face was pure panic and mother's fear. She dropped to her knees beside the little girl. Emma ran into her arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Mommy. He saved me. The CEO, though Michael didn't know who she was yet, looked at him. At the blood. At the man who had taken a bullet meant for her child. She covered her mouth with shaking hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. Oh God, someone help him. Please. Michael tried to speak, but the pain was sharp and deep. Still, he managed to whisper, she's okay. That's what matters. The CEO shook her head fiercely. No. You matter too. That moment changed everything. I and the ambulance, as medics worked quickly, the CEO never left his side. She held Emma with one arm and held onto the stretcher with the other, as if letting go would somehow erase the man who saved her daughter. When they reached the hospital, Michael drifted in and out of consciousness. Lily sat beside his bed, clutching his hand tightly. Hours later, when he finally woke up, he found the CEO standing near the window. She looked powerful, someone used to running companies, giving orders, making hard decisions. But her eyes were soft, full of gratitude and something deeper. I'm Ava, she said quietly. Ava Sinclair. He had heard that name. CEO of Sinclair Tech. A billionaire. A woman who lived a life oceans apart from his. You saved my daughter, she continued, her voice breaking. You put your life on the line for a child you didn't even know. I don't know how to repay that. Michael smiled weakly. You don't need to repay anything. Kids deserve to be safe. Ava studied him for a long moment. No, she said firmly. I'm not letting this go. You changed my life today. You changed Emma's. Let me help you. He shook his head. I'm just a single dad doing what any parent would do. Ava knelt beside him, her eyes leveling with his. You're more than that. The next few days changed both their lives. Ava visited every day. She brought food for Lily, toys for her, books for Michael. Emma clung to Michael like he was the hero in her storybook, and the more Ava saw him, the quiet strength, the gentleness, the love he had for his daughter, the more she realized he didn't just save Emma's life, that he restored a piece of her heart she thought was gone forever. And when Michael was finally discharged, Ava insisted on driving them home. Not in a flashy way or out of obligation, but out of something that had grown quietly between them in hospital hallways and late-night conversations. As they stood outside his small apartment, she hesitated before speaking. Michael. I don't want this to be goodbye. He looked at her, this powerful CEO who had every reason to stay distant, yet had chosen to step closer. Neither do I. Emma hugged his leg. Lily hugged Ava, and in that moment, something undeniable formed between them, something built on courage, gratitude, and the kind of love that grows from the deepest parts of the heart. Sometimes it takes only 3 minutes for life to change, but it takes courage to hold on to the moments that follow. Ava took a breath and whispered, You protected my family. Let me be part of yours. Michael didn't speak, that he didn't need to. The look in his eyes said everything, and that's how a bullet meant for destruction became the beginning of something miraculous. 2 families healing each other, 2 hearts finding their missing pieces, and a story the world would never forget.